With the HPE Data Services Cloud Console, you can now easily and non-disruptively refresh your install base by migrating to an HPE GreenLake for Block storage array built on HPE Alletra Storage MP. From Data Ops Manager, you'd head over to the GreenLake for Block storage system that will be the target for the migration and click on the Data Migration tab. Migrations in DSCC are based on the GreenLake for Block Peer Motion feature, which allows you to migrate volumes without application downtime. The first part of a migration involves establishing communication between an HPE 3PAR source array and an HPE GreenLake for Block storage system. There are two storage arrays that have already been configured, but I have some VMware data stores on a different 3PAR 8400, so I'll need to create a new setup. Existing systems do not need to be managed by DSCC in order to migrate their storage volumes. All that's required is the IP address of the source and a username and password for that array. You'll need between 2 and 8 fiber channel ports on each system. First, you're asked to select the ports you want to use on the source system. If the zoning between ports is already done, there's not much to do. You'll see the zoned source ports have been automatically placed on the right-hand side of the pop-up, which is what you see here. If the zoning is not done, you need to manually select the ports you want to use and move them over. Hovering over the eye gives you more information about which ports to select. And you can use either the graphical view or the list of ports to make your selection. Then just select the corresponding ports on the destination system. DSCC will automatically configure the ports on this system as peer ports. If you haven't already zoned the ports, you'll need both the physical worldwide names of the peer ports and the virtual ports associated with those ports. We make it easy to find that information. Just click the button and copy the text to your PC's clipboard. Then review the results and finalize the configuration. Once that's done, it's easy to start the migration. Just select your source array from the list and click the Import Data button. Give your migration a name and choose the appropriate options. You can opt to start the migration right away or pause before it begins and start it at a later time. You can choose to keep the source volumes or have DSCC do the cleanup for you by deleting them when the migration is complete. Then there are considerations for tasks that are automatically handled by DSCC. For example, if the hosts use third-party file systems, we'll adjust the settings on the target array as required. And then most volumes will take advantage of deduplication and compression when they're migrated to GreenLake for Block storage. The only exception being small volumes less than 16 gigabytes in size, which will be just thinly provisioned after migration. And finally, HPE GreenLake for Block has more advanced technology for preventing data corruption than earlier generations, and as such does not support T10 diff, which must be disabled on the system to be migrated. The next step is to select the volumes to be migrated. DSCC automatically discovers everything on the source that's eligible for migration. You can select hosts and host sets and migrate all their volumes, or you can select specific volumes and volume sets. I have 5 total ESX volumes, 2 in a volume set and 3 individual volumes. And that's all there is to it. Clicking on Import will begin the migration. That takes you to the Migration Progress tab, where you can monitor the migration as it's happening. But I'll fast forward and pick back up now that it's complete and all 5 volumes have been migrated over. In the block storage area, you can see the volumes that have been migrated, the 3 ESX data stores, and the volume set containing the remaining 2 volumes. The last thing I want to do is head back over to the data migration area to explore a couple of other capabilities. Since the VMware migration has completed, we can either leave it in the list or remove it from view. You'll also notice that there are 3 Oracle volumes whose migration has paused. That's because a host rescan is required, and the migration has paused to wait for it. Once that's been done, you can resume the migration. And while a migration is happening, the host is accessing data via the target array. But new host writes are always propagated back to the source. So if for some reason you have a need to back out any changes and revert back to the source, you do have the ability to do so. In the System Configuration tab, if at any time you'd like to change the ports that are used for migrating, it's easy to do so by editing the configuration. As a security measure, you do need to re-enter the system password. And then, well, the other thing you need to know is that you can't edit or delete a source system if there are migrations that are paused or in progress. So instead, let's try the system with no tasks started. On this system, I'm able to make any changes I need to, including adding another pair of ports between the source and target. And then once you're done with all your migrations from a source system, you have the ability to completely delete its migration configuration from DSCC. For more information, visit hpe.com/storage.